Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. This is episode 116 and today we are starting things off in this monstrous area here that we created in the previous episode of Hermitcraft, which kind of looks like almost like a simulation galaxy at this point in time. Because it's getting dark in all the corners, it looks like we're simulating space. There's just things floating around here. There is plenty of work to be done in the Bumbo Cacti temple, but we are not going to be doing any building in today's Hermitcraft episode. I'm sick of it, okay? We've been doing so much building lately, we haven't done any redstone for a bunch of episodes, and I've been missing it, okay? I've been missing out on the redstone stuff. So today is going to be a purely redstone episode of Hermitcraft, and it is going to be very, very good fun. I'm actually really excited for it. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to try and work out how on earth we're actually going to get into the Bumbo Cacti temple, because as you can see, I mean, I want to enter through the roof. I want to go up through here and then through a corridor and into that area. Could be quite difficult. Could be quite difficult. So I think my first idea is to create a flush with the floor slime block launcher. So the idea is that this is a button, it will fire, and it will shoot us up into the sky. So you can see this drops down, then these pistons will trap those grass blocks out of the way, will then be shot up by the slime blocks, and then those dirt blocks will be pushed back, up, and then across, and then back on top of the slime blocks, and then it will all go back up to being flush with the floor. I don't actually know if it's not that complicated, but it's a little bit involved. Yeah, it's actually turned out to be quite a big redstone contraption. This is by no means the most compact way to build it, but that's no big deal because we've got plenty of space underneath the actual storage system. That being said, I don't actually know if it's going to launch us high enough. So if you watch, you can see that the grass gets retracted, the slime blocks go there, and then the grass gets put back. So everything remains completely flush and hidden underneath the floor. And if we give it a try, I mean, we go quite high. Let's see if we could do this. That was so unscientific. I have no clue how high that was. But we go high-ish. I don't know. Yeah, we only go high enough to get on top of this 4-block high pillar. That could be a problem. Now, I made the design in my redstone testing world 2 blocks wide on the slime block thing without realizing that... Actually, no, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to find the central point, and then we're going to go through the central point wherever that central point may be, because the central point of my base is 2 blocks wide. Right, so now that I've worked out where it needs to be, I need to gather up some cobblestone to make all the pistons and things, which clearly has paid quite nicely because I just got 18 diamonds from that. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. I think I've actually managed to make this thing more compact whilst building it on the server. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So we've got that. And then that all seems to be in sync. Right, okay, let's place in the grass blocks and see if this thing actually works. Which, of course, it doesn't. I had totally forgotten how frustrating slime blocks are on servers. This totally doesn't work. How can I make that function? Like, I genuinely have no clue. Oh, okay, so we hit the roof then. But come on, that's not a very good average, is it? How do you even... Do I have to stand in the middle? Is that what's going on here? Maybe? I don't know, it's so difficult to tell. Alright, let's stand right in the middle. Okay, that does seem to work. I'm going to place the button here so I can actually reach it. Oh dear, no, maybe it doesn't. I've just redone pretty much all of the redstone timing, so hopefully this improves things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold shift. Okay, holding shift definitely helps. If we hold shift, then we don't bounce up on the slime blocks. So you press it, hold shift, and get launched upwards. I don't think we go as high though. This is the other problem. Finally, after changing redstone timings again, modifying this entire area here, and trying my best to practice this, I think I've got it down to a fine science. Yes. So, we pop up like that, and then we travel through this area here. Okay, I think we've got it worked out. So I push myself up against these blocks, holding shift, hold shift, get launched, take my thumb off of shift because I hold my keyboard really weird. I know that's proper strange, but I take my thumb off of shift as I take off, and then I can move forward onto this platform and make my way over the storage system and into the Bumbo Cacti temple. Okay, let's do the piston door up at the top, and then we're done with this launcher system. This place is absolutely horrible to work in, by the way. Oh, just everywhere I go, there is a block, or there's a redstone contraption, or there's something that I can't break. It is impossible. Just see what I mean? There's also plenty of places that you can fall down. I'm falling through redstone contraptions left, right, and center. Despite this, I would say I've done a pretty good job at creating this thing. So if we take a look, you can see that our door opens up at the top, so then we can hop on through, and that will take us into the next zone. Now let's just quickly make sure that we can actually make it into that gap. So we hold shift. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Awesome. Okay, so we have got the piston door finally completed. Now let's just cover up this area and we can start work on the actual tunnel or chamber, which is going to take us through into the Bumbo Cacti room. Now this chamber is actually pretty small. I kind of expected, I was planning on there being like a full-length tunnel, and originally I wanted to have almost murals of Bumbo Cacti on the wall, so have like little miniature cacti on the walls, and then, yeah, I don't know why I didn't really think that the tunnel would be this short, but it is. So we haven't really had space for that, so I've had to redesign the entire thing, and I've just kind of come up with this little area. We've got some torches, we've got some cobblestone walls going up the sides. It's very ruined, this area here. But it fits in with the theme of the storage system, and also is sort of going to fit in with the theme of this room. However, the good news is that this is going to be completely separate, because I want to build a piston door, which is going to take us through from this area into this area. And for the first time in this Hermitcraft season, or at least I think it's the first time in this Hermitcraft season, I can't think of any other times I've built it, we're going to build a 4x4 vault door. My favourite vault door of all time. Absolutely love it. I mean, just look at this thing. How could you not like this? Oh, it's just, it works perfectly. And before you say it, because I know I will get tons of comments down in the comment section saying I've built one of these in the door store. No, didn't build one of these. That was a 6x6. Huge thing. Now I'm hoping, with my fingers very much crossed, that none of the redstone we do here affects the storage system, because as you know, we haven't exactly had smooth runnings with the storage system. So I'm sincerely hoping that none of this breaks it. I don't think it should. I think we just about clear most of it, but I'll keep you updated. Things are looking pretty good so far. If we just flick this lever that I've got down at the bottom here, you can see that we've got all of the bottom section, and then we also have all of these sections as well. So if we just place in these blocks that I seem to be struggling with just a little bit, these ones here and these ones here, that makes up quite a large bulk of the door. Now the only thing that we need to do is all of the pistons up at the top, and then the pushing back of these blocks. And to do that, we're using regular pistons and just pushing them back so they're flush with the wall. Not bad going. Not bad going at all, and so far we haven't run into any issues with the sorting system, which is always a good sign too. And now we have a completed 4x4 vault door. So there we go. That is the closing, and there is the opening as well. Everything happening incredibly quickly. Okay. So, from there, we need to work out how we're going to do the inputs. I think I might link that up to some pressure plates with pulse extenders, and they're going to be going over there. And then we need to start working out what on earth is going to be going on in this area over here. Obviously, we're going to need to have some form of staircase. That goes without saying. I guess we should probably do the flooring of this place. I'm talking grass, adding in all that sort of thing, and just making it look, I don't know, a little bit less like a bomb's gone off. However, linking these up to pressure plates is going to be extraordinarily difficult, because of the fact that, well, we don't really have any space to work with now. Did not think that through. With that being said, after a lot of headaches, we have managed to pull it off with just a bunch of slabs. We've got the pulse extender out over there, and it's just all muddled in one big spaghetti mess. But it seems to work, and it seems to function. So now, we're going to move on, we're going to gather up a whole bunch of grass, and we're going to cover the bottom of this thing. Let's do it. Now for this super fast time-lapse chat, I want to discuss with you my plans for the Hermitcraft server, because I was thinking about this season so far, season 5, and I was thinking that, you know what, I haven't really been that mischievous this season. We've done like a handful of pranks, we've pranked Iskal a little bit, and obviously we recently filled his base with the Mumbo mustaches. None of that was like particularly large scale, and some of the pranks that we did in Hermitcraft Season 4, for example, Exumavoid's base for Halloween, they were huge. And I kind of want to take on some more pranking projects a bit like that. But what I want to ask down in the comment section is, who? Like, who would you like to see pranked on the Hermitcraft server? I think it could be interesting to see what your responses are, because I mean, I have a few ideas for a few pranks that I have in the works. So yeah, let me know who you'd like to see, and maybe we can get to that. But don't tell the other hermits, because obviously, you know, we don't want them to know that I'm planning these things. And that has been, I would say, fairly successful. So we don't have any fluctuations in height for this place. I just thought I'd place the base in, and I've also done a little bit of AFKing just to wait for the grass to spread a tiny bit. There's still plenty of dirt spots, but it's better than it was before. But as I say, I am going to add in some areas of hills and things. It's not just going to be one big flat land. But I thought this would be a good place to start. It would be a good way to just get at least a little bit, like a tiny bit of colour inside this space. It doesn't look so bland and horrible. Anyway, next up, we need to create the actual staircase, which is going to be running down here. And I have no clue how I'm going to do it. Also, I was meant to be doing redstone. What happened to redstone? Why have I started building? Anyway, we have built a thing. I've gotten rid of the beacon, so that's all gone. And I have replaced it with this staircase, which I have no clue what it looks like just yet. But we're about to find out. I mean, yeah, it looks okay. Maybe if we run some of these up like that, that could improve things potentially a little bit. That's a bit of a work in progress, but the reason that we needed to build the staircase is because I needed to work out how I was going to do this next part of the build, which is another redstone project. So what I want to do is I want to add in some dynamic lighting into this place. I want to add in some lighting that actually comes on as we enter the room, and I thought that could kind of feed through the place up to the Bumbo cacti that's going to be on the other side of the room. Yeah, that seems like a good idea to me. But before we can start work on the redstone project, we had to do yet more building. This time I've constructed a pathway which is going to take us right the way up to the statue or monolith or whatever we're building off in that direction there. And that's going to run straight the way in. And then I thought on either side we could sprinkle in our redstone lamps. So as far as the actual design itself is concerned, yeah, we're making use of path blocks, a little bit of gravel here and there. It's nothing too fancy, and a lot of this stuff at this point in time are just work in progresses, and they could be changed at some point in the near future, but it's not a bad place to start. Anyway, let's stop talking about building. We're going to move on from building, and we're going to start work on some redstone. Finally. I say finally, like we haven't done any redstone in today's Hermitcraft episode, but I'm currently navigating my way through it and trying to make my way out of it. We've done quite a bit. I just put it up here to take a look at the redstone and try and work out how I'm going to connect it into the redstone lamps that we have going on over here. And I've gathered up a small collection of mobs. Let's see if we can get away without causing too much damage. So let's see how this looks then. If I walk over the pressure plate... Wow, okay. I have just done the redstone for the door on the opposite side. I thought I wouldn't hook it into the pulse extender. Clearly that was a bad idea. Let's try that again. Hopefully this time will be a little bit less deadly. So we walk through. And there go the redstone lamps. You can't really see them because the sea lanterns are in the way. But that looks pretty good. Okay, fantastic. And then we've got a pulse extender, so we'll keep them powered for a decent length of time, and then gradually they'll turn off. Right, let's hook up the other side. And you know what? I think I'm also, in today's episode, going to remove a lot of these floating sea lanterns, because they're horrendous, to be honest with you. We really need to get rid of them. Right, so now that that's all done, as I said earlier on, I think it's about time that we actually got rid of all these floating sea lanterns. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just placing in some torches on the floor just to make sure that no mobs can spawn down here. The walls, they're a completely different monster. There's literally monsters all over them. And also apparently things still spawning in these areas. So I've got to be a little bit careful, but we're going to leave all the sea lanterns that are on the floor, but all these flying ones, yeah, they gotta go. And I'll be totally honest, I have no clue what sort of technique I should be using to do it. Obviously, the ground levels, they're relatively simple because you just walk along looking upwards and trying your best to clear them, and I think for the most part, I've done all of those now. It's the ones up here. Do I scaffold? I guess scaffold between them and hope that I don't get shot off by a skeleton. Technique number 1 was to kind of snake around like this and gradually make my way around. It worked pretty well until you start getting shot off by things, and also it leaves large amounts of scaffolding to take down at the end. Technique number 2 I think is probably better, which is to pillar up through the place and then take out all of the local sea lanterns, then take down your pillar and pillar up somewhere else. I think that works unless you forget one, and then it's more frustrating because you can't walk along a pathway. Science. So I would say I'm around about halfway done on clearing out these sea lanterns, and I can confirm that yes, the pillar technique has been faster for me, despite the fact that I occasionally miss them, and it's all going relatively well. I've had 1 creeper explosion, I've had a handful of skeleton shoot-offs, and I've had 1 or 2 hairy moments with zombies, but other than that, progress is good. The only thing that I will say is, if the walls weren't dark before, they definitely are now. I've taken away the only light source that was preventing them from being super death traps, and now I've turned them into super death traps. This could be an issue. Right, that's it. It's happening. I'm getting fed up of being shot off my pillars. Oh, where on earth did I leave that thing? I mean, I must be able to find it somewhere. So this bow plus this bow will give me power 5, unbreaking 3, punch 2, and then add that in there, and we have flame as well. I think that gives me the best bow I can possibly get. I've got unbreaking 3, you can't have mending, and infinity. We need infinity. Now this is a much more efficient way of doing things. I mean, this bow is just totally ridiculous. And this is giving me some pretty good target practice. I mean, look, let's see if we can hit that spider or this skeleton from all the way over here. Now, that was a good shot. As was that. We've got perfect accuracy so far. Even that! Whoa! Oh, what a champion. That was pretty impressive. I'm secretly quite proud of myself for that. I will admit that this is making things far more exciting. I'm not spending much time actually taking out sea lanterns. That's the only slight problem that I've discovered with this, is that I'm slightly distracted by the fact that I really like shooting things. And that was my first miss. There's my second one. I've lost my game. Die. And here we go. This is the final one. Up we pop, up to the top. And there we have it. All of the sea lanterns have now been removed. Our walls are super dark, so I'm getting plenty of target practice in, being able to mess around with plenty of these mobs. Let's see if we can get that skeleton over there. That's a long shot too. That was a tad embarrassing. I was so confident earlier on, and now my skills have dropped somewhat. Anyway, this is now done, and in my opinion, it's looking pretty cool. Anyway, now that that's all done, I'm just going to head off over to this area and go AFK overnight at the iron farm. I am so glad that I had my bow, because those iron golems, I mean seriously, they are completely ridiculous when there's villagers around. They're normally pretty nice, but if I get within any distance of this guy, he's coming for me, and I can't run. God, this is like a horror film. I just need him to die. Phew, as I was saying, I'm just going to go AFK overnight at the iron farm and hopefully get a lot more of it, because right now we're running very low after using all those hoppers the other day. We need lots. And I am back on the server to the sound of a lot of zombies. Are they underneath the floor? That seems really, really straight. It seems like there's quite a lot of zombies just underneath the ground right now. Anyway, aside from that, how much has the iron farm produced? Okay, there's a creeper over there. That's not brilliant. What? I swear it's normally more efficient than that. I mean, we've probably got about 9 stacks overnight. So I suppose I can't complain too much, and I did finish up very late last night. but still, not the best. What the heck? It's time to round up today's Hermitcraft episode. I have no clue what's happened there. I'm going to have to get another villager from that area over there and transport him all the way up because this iron golem has popped in and apparently killed one of the villagers, which is bizarre. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit that like button. If you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later. Oh, and as per usual, check out the latest film on the filming channel. Just released, just recently. It's really quite good. I think you'll enjoy it.